Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. For those of you that don't know, I'm Natalie and this is Martin. We're the co-founders and husband and wife team behind the Gin Cooperative. So thanks very much for joining us on our first Go Live Facebook chat.
Hi everyone.
I'm sure that most of you are aware we've roped in Stuart, co-founder of Biggar Gin, as our first hopefully willing guest. So over the next few weeks and possibly months, depending on how this all goes, we will be chatting with a number of our members, specifically gin makers, distillers and brand owners in the world of Scottish gin, and possibly even some individuals and businesses that support and promote Scottish gin like ourselves. So more on that in due course. But for now, I'll hand over to Martin and we'll attempt to bring in Stuart from Biggar.
Yeah, thanks for that, Nat. So obviously tonight we've got a round of Scottish gin with Stuart McVicar, one of the co-founders of the Biggar Gin Company. So if you give us 2 seconds, let's see if we can do this without much technical hitches. And I'm hoping to have Stuart with us in just a second. Here we go. Hi Stuart, how's it going?
Hi.
Good, yeah, fine. So far so good for our first sort of experience of doing Facebook Live. So yeah. And how's things with yourself? How's the family and that doing under the circumstances? Cool.
And I can see the rainbow.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we,
Yeah,
we, we know all about
yeah,
WR2. It's sort of, you've
it's
just got to
similar.
adapt, and I guess everyone's in the same boat. We've all just got to play our role and just sort of stay inside and just try and
Yeah,
help do what we can.
yeah. And I know we've seen quite a lot of innovation obviously over the last couple of weeks. Businesses having to work a bit differently, and it was actually Sharon from It's a Scottish Gin thing. She mentioned to me this morning she's seen a lot of good deals and brands getting themselves out there in different ways. So how are you kind of coping with everything that's going on and making sure that people can still get hold of Biggar Gin?
I guess it's the same as every other distillery and brand. A lot of our sales were predominantly shops, bars, restaurants,
Yeah.
wholesalers. So that's probably tailed off, I'd say, more than 95%.
Wow. Yeah.
And I doubt we'll be alone with that. We've got an online web shop and we are still supplying to some sort of local stockists as well.
Yeah.
And they've been great. They've been sending out, grocery packs with gin included in some examples.
Yeah.
And that's great. And we would ask people to, if they are buying, buy local and if you can.
Yeah.
We were fortunate enough to have produced batch 31 of our original recipe just a few days before the lockdown was announced. So we managed to get the majority of batch 31 out to a number of partners and fulfillment partners. So online orders, for example, can still be fulfilled, which is quite good.
Yeah.
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 We decided to create a discount code, stay at home and you'll get free delivery.
Yeah.
And we're donating 5% of online sales to the local food bank, Clydesdale Food Bank.
Fantastic.
We thought we would do that rather than offer a discount as such.
Yeah.
Food banks, I think, are going to be very important in the coming weeks and months. And we'll probably look at trying to involve some other charities as well.
Yeah.
Possibly some charities that link to the on trade, because they stock our gins in their bars and restaurants, and they're going to be hugely affected by it as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
We'll see how that goes in the coming weeks and months, and hopefully, if online sales increase, we can contribute something.
Yeah.
No,
No,
So
good.
people are still able to get Biggar Gin, which is quite good.
Yeah.
The guys at Huffman's, wholesalers, they've been doing deliveries in Glasgow, Edinburgh, Perth and Dundee, with a bottle of Scottish gin and a case of Tonic, which has been a great sort of door-to-door service. 56 North and Andrew from Cushy Doos have been something similar in Edinburgh, so that there are people still, getting gin and Scottish tonics, etc. out there, which is good.
And I would imagine right now the sort of demand for gin is probably quite big, with everyone being stuck at home as well.
Yeah, it's probably similar to that in the run up to Christmas. For us, I would say, which is good. And we probably didn't concentrate on online sales as much as we should have done. So it does give you time to think and maybe plan a little bit of strategy for the coming months as well.
Yeah, I think when we first started, Stuart, I don't think the sound was on from your mic, so I'm just wondering if you wanted to maybe mention that bit about your wife again, and obviously how she's involved in the NHS and what she's doing right now.
Yeah, so as myself and our two boys have been doing homeschooling, etc., she's been working in the ITU ward at the local hospital, so she's pretty much on the front line.
Yeah.
She a slight change from her normal role at the hospital, but she's enjoying being able to make a difference and help out. So yeah, long days at the hospital.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Well, I'm just wondering, sort of what inspired you to make a gin? Where was the inspiration from? Were you a long-time gin drinker? Was it, did you see the rise of Scottish gin, or did you want to create a gin that sort of promoted your local area?
So I guess I had probably drank gin since my university days, which was more than a couple of decades ago. My brother has always been a big whiskey fan and a gin fan, so between the two of us, we'd been to many distillery tours. We knew a lot about the process, different still types, etc. We were both fans of the sort of classic London dry gin style. Yeah. And when we were on a family holiday, this would have been September 2016, I had brought up the subject of looking at a potential change in career, and it was Ewan's idea that we should perhaps look at trying to produce our own gin. So the journey sort of started from there. We did a lot of research on botanicals. We went on a few different courses about setting up a distillery and running a distillery. We spoke to the guys at Strathearn Distillery. They ran a sort of Stillman's course at the time, so you could basically be on site with them for a week and you could go through the full process of making whiskey or gin. So we learned an awful lot from those guys and shadowing those guys. After we spent about 10 months on the recipe, we then approached Strathearn again and helped us to productionise it. We wanted to use some botanicals that are growing locally, so roundberry, rosehip and nettles were the three that we sort of focused on. During the process, we probably distilled about, I think it was about 31 or 32 botanicals individually. So we had a distillate with just each individual botanical, and we could then start blending those together to see what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
The first thing I do if I'm looking at a new botanical is generally to dry it and make tea from it, just to get an idea of the flavour profile, that sort of thing. Yeah. So we managed to get it down to just over 10 botanicals. With the help of Strathearn, we managed to sort of get batch one produced, which was May 2018. Mm-hmm. So at the time, it was just under 200 bottles we were producing using a a copper, a hoga pot still. It's a fairly traditional method.
Yeah.
We wanted to try and keep it, quite traditional methods. And I think that sort of fits in with our brand as well.
Yeah, fantastic.
Brilliant. And I don't know how many people out there know this, but we know certainly that you're, in the process of building your own distillery. So with everything that's going on, and I know that there have been challenges even before all this kicked off. It'd be interesting to know what stage you're at now and how you've had to overcome some of the challenges you face, and I guess what you're, when you're hoping to open that.
So the plan was to be ready by summer. Building work has stopped just now, obviously.
Yeah.
Quite rightly so, because everybody's staying at home and it's not an essential activity. But hopefully, whenever things start to open up again, we'll get the sort of the framework, the core of the building finished. Yeah. And depending on how long we're on lockdown, it might be towards the end of the summer. Yeah. We get finished. It might push it into autumn. So it's a bit of the unknown just now.
Of course.
A lot of the hard work's been done already with the sort of design and all the various paperwork, and I
guess there's probably a lot of legal.
Dusted and yeah, so all the groundworks and the drainage, which was quite a big job, but that was all completed. Yeah. So
I guess there's probably quite a lot of sort of legal loopholes you've got to go through when you say to your local council, right, we're a gin brand, we want to set up our own distillery here. So I think it's great that you've managed to get to the stage you're at, and hopefully once things return to some sort of normality, that you can sort of progress further with that. Because I know you've been, we've seen photographs of the foundations being dug and then the foundations being laid and things like that. So it's great to see a brand like yourself sort of developing that next stage of your business, from going from working with the likes of Strathern to then actually having your own distillery as well. I think it's an admirable thing to be doing.
Yeah, I think that the options there, you take a gamble and you build a distillery and you produce gin, and then you find out whether that's been successful or not. Yeah. And we're self-funded, so we didn't have a huge budget, so this was sort of the most sensible way for us to work, with a partner, find out if, the product is successful, and then invest in the distillery. Yeah. So I think we've done it the only way we could have done, really. Yeah. So we're quite pleased with that.
And we've always sort of taken that attitude that, not everyone's in a position where they've got the finance or the resources, or, some people are still working full time. They don't have the time to start off making gin with their own distillery, So we totally respect the fact that a lot of contract distilled gin makers do have this as a bigger goal. End goal is to actually have a distillery of your own,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good luck with everything once all the bill gets going again. So, and one thing we wanted to touch on, we meant to do this earlier, but obviously your bottle is quite distinctive, quite contemporary. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you came up with the brand, the packaging, and the name? Well, the name is fairly obvious to us, but maybe not to everyone.
Yeah, so we're based just outside the town of Biggar, which is on the border between South Lanarkshire and the Borders areas. That's where Ewan's based. So we worked on the brand probably for a similar amount of time as we did on the sort of flavour profile, the recipe. And we worked with a local sort of branding consultant. We wanted something that was quite sort of clean and crisp, which kind of reflected a little bit of the sort of the recipe profile we were going for. Yeah. It's obviously difficult to stand out in the market where there are so many sort of custom bottles. I think probably at the time, so late 2016 and the first half of 2017, Isle of Harris was probably the most noticeable custom bottle. Yeah. So, you're trying to stand out on a shelf next to brands like that, which is difficult. So we're looking for something that was quite noticeable. So you obviously got the big, clean fonts. The writing goes right the way around the bottle. So the theory is, if you've got two of them, on the shelf, you can see the full name. So we're basically trying to get people to buy 2 bottles to sit on the shelf.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and there's the tab that sticks out at the side, which is a little bit on a sort of play on words on the town Biggar, and we feel it's our tagline is small batch gin, bigger mentality.
Yeah,
and we feel that the town is sort of punching above its weight. We wanted something to sort of show that that couldn't be contained, if you like. So the label does stick out a bit. We've decided to use the tab to write the batch and bottle number. So every bottle is handwritten with batch and bottle number, and that's on the side of the tab. I've heard of a few people who have actually been ripping the tab off after they finish the bottle, so they know what batch and bottle numbers that they've been consuming.
Yeah.
On the top of the bottle is the greyhound. We've always had dogs in the family, but not a greyhound. The story behind the greyhound goes back to the early 1800s, 1821. The locals formed a greyhound coursing club, and members would meet every weekend and let the dogs run, pay membership fees. By I think about 1860, it declined in popularity. So they decided to use the membership fees to buy fine wines and spirits instead.
Okay.
So they rented the basement in the local corn exchange, which had enough space to store 60 cases of alcohol. So they still carried on with membership fees. They met there every weekend, and it turned into a society that was quite well known for an appreciation of fine wine and spirits. So it ran till about 1975 in that sort of format.
Yeah.
And apparently they do still meet a couple of times a year to this day. So it's a little bit of a history of the town, and there was an obvious link to alcohol, so we thought it made a sort of fitting logo.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. No, I think we think it's quite standout, and Martin being from a design background himself, he appreciates that. We've always enjoyed. And I think we've got every size. So yeah.
I think you would describe that as baby Biggar, would you?
Yeah.
We launched with a 50cl bottle, and then we got feedback saying that 70cl is more value for money. So we launched the 70cl last year.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah. I guess it's good just to be able to give consumers and sort of on and off trade that option of the different sizes as well. I guess it means you're a bit more flexible rather than just having one single size, especially when it maybe comes to exporting.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So I guess, obviously I work with Natalie, so I know how it feels to work with a member of your family almost. So how did you get on with your brother? What does he sort of bring to the table with you guys? And, how does that dynamic work?
I can pretty much say anything because he's not here just now.
Exactly.
No, it works. It works very well. We're quite different personalities, quite different characters. So we bring sort of different skill sets. Ewan still has the day job, and I'm sort of full time on Biggar Gin. So certainly when it comes down to looking at flavour profiles and recipes, etc., then that's definitely a sort of a joint process, and we'll meet up regularly and pass over notes and thoughts and that sort of thing. And we came up with the brand along with Michael, the consultant we worked with. So we're happy with how that sits together. So yeah, I would say it works. I would say it works well.
That's good.
And as I say, we bring different elements to the business. So
fantastic. Okay. And I guess we can see it in the background there, but you've got your Clyde Valley Plum Gin. Can you tell us a bit more about how that was developed and how that came about?
So we wanted to look at producing something that would maybe highlight some of the local businesses. So in the Clyde Valley, there used to be 150, 200 years ago, there was a lot of orchards in the area, and now there's hardly any. And there's a few orchards still up and running, and there's a few people are buying land in the Clyde Valley, and they're starting to plant trees and bring it back. So we wanted to sort of highlight that a little bit. I think our great grandfather planted an orchard in the Clyde Valley a couple hundred years ago. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
So we took 80 kilograms of the plums from Overton Farm in the Clyde Valley, and we wanted to produce a full strength flavoured gin.
Yep.
So it's unsweetened, so it doesn't appeal to a lot of flavoured gin drinkers, if you like. It's actually quite bitter, and works quite well with a sort of a ginger ale serve, or because it was launched sort of towards the end of last year, worked really well in a sort of winter, almost like a mulled gin sort of idea, with a little bit of cloudy apple juice, some cinnamon and star anise warmed through a double measure of Biggar Gin and served with a dried apple slice in one of our tin mugs. So there was only about 400 bottles produced using the batch of plums we got. They've still got maybe 25, 30 bottles left, I think. So I mean, we'll plan to do something again this year.
Yep.
We might do it slightly differently. I think that's one thing that if you're working with local fruit, it all depends on how the crops are, and so it'll probably taste different next year or this year. But we'll do something again. And once the last bottles are sold, we'll be planting a couple of plum trees in the Clyde Valley.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, brilliant. And I can see that I can see a few other gins there in the background. Scottish gin bottles in particular. What Scottish gins have you been enjoying at home?
So let me have a quick look. There's only one measure out of Downpour, but I'm not convinced this will make it out of lockdown. Very good. The last few, Seven Cross is probably one of the other ones I've had recently. We've got, what else? We've got the Tarbert Leg Biter.
Oh yeah.
The Navy Strength, yeah.
The guys up in Kintyre. What else have we got? I've got some illicit New Tom from Darren in Glasgow. We've got some,
I see Colin saying
Linden Lime.
Linden
which
Lime,
I bought because I like the bottle.
Yeah.
Nice gin as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I won't go through them all, but that's probably the last ones that have been opened. But yeah, I try and get as many of the new Scottish gins as I can.
I think that's the thing.
It's always, when we go to events, it's quite easy to do bottle swaps, but in lockdown, that's not quite so easy.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's one of the things that we really like about Scottish gin is there's no single particular style of gin that you could say defines Scottish gin. There's no singular botanical, and I think that's part of the reason we've kind of fallen in love with Scottish gin is the fact it's such a diverse spectrum of flavours, botanicals, methods of making it that it's, as a gin drinker at heart, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think because Scotland's got such a history of distilling and I guess in technology as well. There's lots of things happening and they go hand in hand. And there's lots of experimentation going on. I think it is producing a lot of good gin. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes in the next year or so.
And why do you think gin has become so popular, Stuart? Do you think there's any one particular reason, or do you think it's a few things that?
I think there's probably been trends. If you look over the last so many decades, from flavoured vodkas to fruit ciders. I guess gin is probably it's probably one of the main ingredients in traditional cocktails if you go back to 80, 100 years or so. And it's very versatile, so it works very well with cocktails. I've been trying to learn how to make some cocktails properly over the last few weeks, which has been a fair challenge. So yes, I think it works very well in cocktails as well as just the traditional gin and tonic. And I think now it's different from 15 years ago when there was a choice of 3 or 4 gins. So people that didn't think they liked gin are now trying it. And are discovering that they actually do like gins, or they do like flavoured gins. Or some people like a spice profile, which is now coming out as well. So there's probably for somebody to say I don't like gin, the chances are there's probably something out there that they do like.
Absolutely.
Different mixers as well. There's the traditional tonic waters. There's the likes of Cushy Dews, which is in my gin, which I've not drank yet.
Which is
obviously
quinine
in it, so it's not quite as bitter. So there's a a big variety, choice of mixer as well. So
Yeah.
We've kind of noticed that when you go to a bar, you'll maybe see, a younger person ordering a gin and asking the barman, what kind of gins have you got? What kind of tonics have you got? Can you suggest a garnish? And, I think that culture in itself of younger people approaching gin like that is totally different to how it was even 15, 20 years ago when, I was maybe in my prime out drinking, but it was just a case of you'd have, a couple of pints of lager, a couple of Jack Daniels and Coke. You weren't really that worried about who was making the drink you were drinking, where it was being produced, the origins of it, the provenance. So, it's great to see that. I think slowly but surely people are a bit more. They maybe research a bit more what they're drinking and how they're drinking it, and I think people are being. I'd like to think people are being a bit more sensible about how much alcohol they're consuming as well.
Yeah, I would say I've probably seen a trend in the younger generations, millennials maybe, who are probably drinking less, but they're drinking better quality.
Yeah.
So they'll spend £35 on a bottle of gin, but it could last easily 3 or 4 months, and it's a treat. And they like they'll build up a small collection of good quality gins, which certainly wasn't up on my list of things to do when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
But, so I'd see a big change.
Well, for what it's worth,
good.
your the way you described your plum gin, I think that would go quite well in a Negroni. I'm a bit of a Negroni fan, and I know there's probably a few on here that are too. So that bitterness, I think that would lend itself well to a Negroni. So that's probably how I'll
that could be a Scottish
that one.
A Scottish Negroni.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Made with Biggar.
Yeah,
Lightside plum gin.
We put together with the help of a young guy called Anthony Gallant who lives locally, and he's created a few recipes for us. The Biggar tea smash that we did at the Gin to My Tonic show last year. Anthony was at the show with me, and I think he made over 100 that day.
Yeah.
So he's helped us with a few other recipes, and we put some together that we've been sending out with any online orders. It's just a list of maybe 6 or 7 cocktails that you can make at home.
Yeah.
And one of the plum ones is a bee's knees using the plum gin.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's actually quite nice. Yeah, a little bit of honey and the plum.
Sounds good. Well, we'll definitely.
I've been busy dehydrating plums and various other things for garnish.
Nice.
Yeah. Great. Well, I think, I guess you've kind of touched on the distillery piece, and we can see your plum gin there. Are there any other plans afoot? What are the longer term plans for Biggar Gin, just to finish things off?
I think I maybe noticed something in the background there as well, Stuart. Is that something there?
In the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously the plum branding is similar to the original one, but almost a negative with the dark plum background and the white writing. And there's a navy label in the background. So
yeah, we'll keep
I'll let you guess what that might be.
Yeah. Watch the space. Great. Well, we look forward to seeing what that is. No, that's super. Well, thank you very much for being our first guest. That's been good. I hope that you've got something from it. And actually, the interview, or the chat, I should say, it's probably more informal than an interview, is available on our page. To watch after. So if you've missed it live, hopefully there's a few others can catch up after.
And obviously, Stuart, where can people find you on sort of social media? What platforms are Biggar Gin on?
Yeah.
So we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. So that's the sort of main platforms. We've got the website as well, biggargin.com. Yeah. All our handles are at Biggar Gin. We're starting to put some more cocktail recipes up on all of the platforms. I think we've even got a TikTok video somewhere.
Oh wow! Okay.
Getting down with your kids.
Yeah.
So trying to get some more cocktails. I'm trying to brush up on my photography skills so that we can actually share some of the cocktails during lockdown.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, keep up the
Fantastic.
good work.
So hopefully see more content from us.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep up the good work, and obviously thanks to your wife for all that she's doing, and I hope you guys take care during this strange time. But no, thanks very much, Stuart. We'll end things there, I think.
Brilliant. Thank you, and thanks for all you've been doing.
Thanks very
no
much.
worries.
Take care.
Cheers, Stuart.
Cheers.
Yeah.
So that's it for us for now. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. I hope it wasn't too painful to watch.
Yeah, and we don't always colour coordinate, and that was an accident, by the way. So it was too late to change, but black and white spotty outfits may continue. We might just make this the regular.
This might just be our uniforms.
Our uniforms. But no, thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope you've got something out of it, and I think the next person that we're speaking to is Luke from Kinrara on Sunday night, so we look forward to that, and we'll keep more of these as the weeks and months go on. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, take care, everybody.
Take care. Yep.
Thanks again.
Cheers.
Cheers.